On SuperTurbo today, we're taking a look at a hot hatch that's an absolute icon on Irish roads. It's a Volkswagen Golf GTI.
Get the badge in.
You needed a complete refresh on cars after the nightmares that you've had.
Yeah.
How did you end up with a Golf GTI?
Oh, I was looking at Camrys.
Oh.
I was looking at Camrys, and then because it just was like, if I'm going to have something boring, I may as well have a big luxury boat yacht type thing, just something to float about in. And then I was like, they're a bit big. I do a good bit of back road driving to try and avoid traffic. But everything else was like being positive. Tax was cheap. It was going to be good on fuel, and it was going to be good on insurance as well. So I was like, maybe that could be a good idea.
So I'm right in saying this is your 6th car in 18 months?
Yeah. Just
Why?
indecisive. Can't make up any mind about anything that I want to do. But then even in that, I just keep buying cars that are fucking shite. So I had a Kia Ceed last year. Great car. Genuinely. Shouldn't have got rid of it. I modified it. I lowered it because no one ever does that. I put Alutech wheels on it. No one ever does that. That was my first car. I got that in 2021. Then after that, had a mad fit. Decided I had big boy money and bought a 2017 Octavia VRS in the same colour, actually, in white, polar white as well. Decided that was boring after 6 months. Bought a bright red FN2 Civic Type R that was modified, and unbeknownst to me, after I tried to get it checked for a little drive shaft wobble, needed an entire rear subframe. So that was...
So the rear subframe was completely rusted away?
Completely rusted away. It didn't exist anymore. There was a hole about yay big in the back of the rear subframe, covered up with under seal, like just thickly layered on. When I had a quick look at it, I didn't notice it. My bad, totally. But I just kind of cut my losses on that one. Got it fixed.
Was it a big fix?
It was a big fix. I'm
Okay.
not going to talk
But
about it.
everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Okay.
Car's gone. I don't own it anymore. Car was fixed. Car was fully working order. It was actually a great car when it was fixed. It's just the tax on that was way too expensive, and the insurance on that was way more than I thought it was going to be. The renewal went up from what they said it was going to be, and it was almost double. So I just couldn't afford that anymore.
So you had another car in the meantime?
Yes, in the middle of that. So because the parts were going to take about 2 weeks to come, and it was going to be potentially up to a week of work, maybe 2, depending on what went wrong, because when you're taking the whole rear subframe off, it's wheel bearings, it's brake lines, it's literally everything on the back of the car. You don't know what's going to break, you don't know what else is going to go. So I just told them to buy everything. Whatever didn't work, we could return it afterwards. But that was going to take 2 weeks, so 4 weeks potentially all in. Like, it wasn't too bad, but I did need a car because I do still have a job that I do still need to go to. So I went on Facebook Marketplace and I found a Opel Tigra 2008 1.4 litre convertible that did no longer convert for 800 quid. So I bought that.
So that's car number 4?
That's car number 4, correct. And after the honeymoon period of the Civic was over, I kind of realised that, you know, I couldn't afford it. Swapped it for a E92 320D.
Okay, and that E92 was a good decision because it only had
347,000 kilometers
on its original engine.
On its original engine, and first timing chain.
Right, you're a brave man.
And he told me it had the DPF removed.
Did it?
No, he lied.
So you had your heart broken by many performance cars?
Yeah.
So you bought a performance car?
Yeah. This is a 2015 Volkswagen Golf GTI. It is Japanese.
Okay.
Unlike me, it's only done 95,000 kilometers now. I'd done 93 when I bought it, which was a week ago, which means I've done 2,000 kilometers in 2 weeks. That's a lot of fuel. Yeah, it's got a Ottinger front lift that came on it from Japan. Thank you, Japanese man. 18-inch Austins. I really like them. Some people hate them. They're always on Facebook Marketplace, but they're a genuine VW wheel and they're really strong. So it's lowered on RS Ors. I found that out when I was underneath it, when I looked them up to try to figure out exactly how much it was dropping. It's about 15, maybe 20 mil on the front, I think, and then 25 on the rear, which is why, you know, you've got no shoe can fit in there, shoe can fit in there. So I don't know. Now I'm also reversed backwards and the handbrake is on, which means it usually goes it squats. Driving along, it isn't that bad.
So this isn't a GTI Club Sport performance?
No.
But there is some element of it that's fairly similar to a performance?
Yeah, some crazy man in Japan optioned it with DCC. Why? A dynamic chassis control, for those who are not in the VAG universe. Why he spec'd it with that, I don't know. It's a 4.5, 5 grand option or something. And at that point, like, just get the performance pack of the Club Sport. I don't know.
This is the 2-litre turbocharged from Volkswagen, which is the
EA888 Gen 3 point something A.
It's fairly stock in here, except for
That big gaping filter, yeah, from the
this big.
Really easy kit to install, to be honest with you. It's literally like that box. They go into exactly where like the stock airbox is, and then just big pipe, silicone, big filter, which means whoosh. But it utilizes like the factory airbox, so that like sits right there. That's where the factory airbox would send the air into the factory airbox that would sit here. So the air goes there, you can see right through, but it actually gets pulled up along here and sent that way. A common mod that people do is they get a Dremel and they cut it out here. But one thing that was pointed out to me was, if you are going to do that, don't cut that one. Otherwise the air will come back out this way, because that's how airflow works. Oh, one other thing, technically not a modification, but if you own a Volkswagen, fucking look for this. It is a silica bag about yay big that sits in the coolant bottle. If you haven't heard of it by now, go check. Make sure your car's cold before you open that coolant bottle. But it sits in here, and usually it says Mit Silica here, but I've obviously crossed it out because it is no longer Mit Silica.
Okay, and why do you need to take that out, or why should you?
So
take
it
that out?
happened on my Octavia before I got it. It didn't happen while I have it. You'll know when it happens because the coolant will go from pink to brown. The silica bag bursts inside of the coolant bottle, drains down and gets stuck in your heater matrix and clogs it, which means you get perfectly cool conditioned air on one side and hot air on the other when you're trying to be hot. For me, it meant that the passenger got hot air, not always, but whenever you wanted hot air, it got heat, but I always got cold. Brought that to a mechanic to see how much it would fix. With some discounts that I had, I got quoted at about €1,900 to fix it, because it's new heater matrix out, new water pump, because you got to flush the coolant the whole way through the system. You got to flush it a couple of times, and in doing the flush, you correctly in doing the flush, you ruin the water pump. So the water pump have to replace it, which was just done. I pulled the silica bag out, so I don't need to do any of that. It's gone.
Great.
It's gone. That's why I've crossed out. It usually says Mit Silica here.
Took it out, or did you replace it?
Oh, I took it out. You just take it out. What it's supposed to do is prolong the life of coolant, but like, coolant costs 40 quid. If you have a dehumidifier, you can put that stuff in. If you're in like a super bad position, you can use that or €1,900 when the silica bag explodes and takes out your entire heater matrix system, which I have had before. So
Well, are there any like common issues?
if there are, I don't really know them yet. The turbochargers fail, but that's when people put too much boost on them or they're not correctly maintained. Diffs on them fail, but that's when they're not correctly maintained. It's a time and chain, but the water pump does need to be replaced. If you have one that has any problems, that's because it's not being correctly maintained. Shocks sometimes go, but that's because they've not been correctly maintained. Like any other car, they have issues. If there is other issues, I haven't really found them yet. There's loads of preventative things you can do. What they are, I don't know. Waiting for someone to tell me. Almost everyone I know in the car scene loves Volkswagen products, has always had them. So I've just got a whole host of people who are so willing and so ready to help me with anything that I do need. For general maintenance, it's super easy. Spark plugs are under there, oil filters there, drains at the bottom, and then everything else, even though it's quite tight, is relatively easy to access. Once you get that out of the way, you got a good bit of room.
So it's pretty modular and it's easy to work around this engine, unlike a particular French hot hatch that would be similar to this.
Yeah, the one that would be in the same class.
Yeah.
The F4 RT engine.
Yeah. So in here it's actually pretty nice.
Yeah.
Like it's Golf GTI, but like it's a particularly comfortable Golf GTI.
Yeah, I mean, as far as spec goes, you could get these with leather seats,
Mm-hmm.
leather heated seats, but I didn't want them. I feel like it's a crime to have a GTI without tartans.
Yeah, no, the tartan is really nice.
And also, I don't like leather. It gets sticky and hot in the summer, and that's not nice.
No, it's not.
Ask Andrew about his seats.
Ask me about mine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I can see this little thing here. This funky looking shifter.
Oh yeah. Let me just go into it first. Let me check if it's in neutral. Yeah, that's because I got an automatic. It's faster, it farts on upshifts under load, and just like in general for me, yeah, I thought it'd be easier for my life. So it's got adaptive cruise control, which means it's got traffic, I think it's called traffic crawl, but if you have a car with it, it's like, yes, it means you are no longer driving the car essentially, but it'll start, stop, go when you're crawling along in traffic, which is kind of nice. It's something nice to have in a modern car, especially with a car that once you whack it into sport mode, put it in manual, use your cousin paddles, you can get to where you're going at pace. But it's also relatively economical. I'm getting about 650 to 700 kilometers out of a tank, 50-litre tank. That ain't bad. It's got all the creature comforts that you'd want in a modern car. Apple CarPlay. If I wanted to use Volkswagen's navigation system, I could. I don't want to. You know, it's pretty good. I enjoy it.
What's this like to drive?
It's nice. It's comfy when it needs to be, obviously, thanks to comfort mode with the DCC, and it's really sporty when it needs to be, thanks to DCC. Engine's really punchy. The gearbox is what makes that like super aggressive. You can feel it when it's rolling through the gears in automatic. I've driven it a little bit in manual, but I have to be honest with you, it knows when to change gears way better than I do, and it can change them faster. It knows where that correct position is based on torque. But even in eco mode, it's still nice, still punchy. It's 225 or 220 or 230, somewhere around there, brake horsepower. So it'll get you where you need to go, and it'll get you there pretty comfortably, pretty quickly. Yeah, nice. It's nice.
Okay. We're going to wait for the traffic to die down and for the sun to set. I'm going to take it for a little spin.
Sweet.
Cool. And that is the Mark 7 Golf GTI.
Goose GTI. Get the badge on.